What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hey, if you saw my last video, you'll know that I was up at Lake Sonoma on Wednesday and fishing up in Cherry Creek area, and it was kind of a tough bite, being that it was fairly windy, and just really couldn't generate a lot of bites on the Senko or the swim baits. So I ended up tying on a drop shot and ended up catching 5 or 6 fish on the drop shot. Really shallow, less than 5 feet of water. So over the last couple of days, it kind of got me thinking about it, and I thought I'd share with you my drop shot setup for fishing Lake Sonoma, especially around the wooded areas and all the trees. And there's a few things that I noticed other people kind of make the mistake of using too light of a rig or using the wrong hook. And so let me share with you what I use for fishing up there around the trees. Starts off with a Dobbins 703 Champion XP rod. It's medium action, 7-foot rod, plenty of backbone, it's a good soft fast tip. I got that paired up with a Daiwa Tatula 2500 reel. I really like the Tatula reels because of the higher gear ratio. A lot of your spinning reels that you see out there are down in the 5.1, 5.3 range, something like that, whereas the Tatulas are up over 6 to 1 gear ratio, so you get a little faster speed with those. Plus they're really light and really great reels. On the reel, I got it spooled up with 15-pound Power Pro high vis yellow braid. I really like the high vis yellow because of that smaller line diameter enables me to see the line a lot better than a black line. And then on top of that, I have a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. Down on the business end here, what I prefer to use is a 1/0 or maybe even a 2/0 straight shank offset worm hook, if you can see that. There you go, offset worm hook. That enables me to Tex-pose the worm like this, and that keeps it weedless, a lot less hang-ups in the trees, a lot less headaches, a lot less retying throughout the day. On the dropper end, I use a 3/16 ounce cylinder weight, and as you notice right now, my leader is really short. That dropper is very short. It's only like 3 inches or 4 inches at the most. I don't want that longer than the worm this time of year in the springtime, because I'm fishing shallow. I want that bait to be right at the at the nose of the bass. If they're up there on beds or up there shallow, a longer leader just be way over their head. So the short leader really is the ticket right now to be drop shotting up in the shallows for Lake Sonoma. And that's kind of my basic rig for Sonoma. This is the worm that I mentioned the other day. Like I said, this is that baby bass color, white on the bottom. The tail is normally white, but I use my chartreuse dye marker to paint that yellow to make it stand out a little better and make those bass think that it's a bluegill kind of attacking the bed and not a bass. The other hooks you can use, if you can try something like just a straight shank hook and still Tex-pose it. It gives a little bit different look, but I really prefer these offset worm hooks. And the 1/0 size for the 6-inch robo worms. Now, if I'm my other setup, which I normally use when I'm kind of fishing open water situations, maybe in the wintertime at Lake Sonoma, where you're fishing main lake areas, fishing deeper, that's when I'll switch over to this lighter setup and use the open hook. But really rarely do I actually use an open hook on Lake Sonoma. Even on the main lake, you still can run into trees and stuff, and it lessens the headache by using that Tex-posed worm hook. This situation I'll use like a Berryessa or even a Clear Lake with the open hook. Lake Shasta, places like that where you're not fishing in a lot of trees and a lot of structure. For my light setup, this is an old G. Loomis GL2 rod. I've had this for over 20 years, I think, and caught hundreds of fish on this. I mainly, again, the 15-pound Power Pro. This is an old Shimano Symmetry reel. Had this again for years. Same 15-pound Power Pro braid. Usually dropping down to 8-pound fluorocarbons, even sometimes 6-pound fluorocarbon for like Berryessa, where you're getting fish in open water. maybe going a little deeper. And then with that, I'll go to a longer leader. You know, if you're fishing deeper, you're fishing around grass, 12, 14-inch leader. In those situations, again, the same 3/16 ounce weight. Rarely do I really bump up my weights to anything over 3/16. The only time I do that is if I'm fishing the main lake area and it's really windy and I don't feel like the bait's getting down to where I want it to be, or I'm just having trouble feeling the bottom. Then I'll bump up to like a 1/4 ounce weight. Use the same cylinder weight. The nice thing about these cylinder weights is if you're fishing really shallow and you feel like the weight's too much, you can just take some snips and cut off the end of it. They cut really easy. These are lead weights, so I typically don't use tungsten weights for drop shotting, especially at Lake Sonoma, because you just lose too many. So anyways, so that's my rigs. That's how I set up my drop shot. Again, 10-pound line. Want to go a little heavier, medium action rod. Give yourself some backbone to pull those fish up out of those trees and get them to the boat with a little faster gear ratio. That tends to work for me. I've made a mistake a long time ago of using lighter line and just broke off too many fish, and kind of got frustrated with that. So give that a try next time you're out there drop shot in Lake Sonoma. I think you'll really like the change from using the open hook and have a lot less headaches and better time fishing. Anyways, tight lines, and thanks for watching.